all of these things that we experience, people were really connecting in with that. So that obviously wasn't planned, but it was something that it was just so important for me to speak out about. I will tell you though, I did get 2 messages on LinkedIn, inbox messages from people who said, "You're tanking your business talking."
Really?
Yeah. And my response to that was, thank you for sharing your view on that. You've just re-solidified why I will continue to talk.
Wow. Wow. And like these people, were they like colleagues, clients, friends?
Former colleagues that are leaders at other organizations,
Gotcha.
right? Like so it was interesting kind of bearing it out and sharing stuff more, but it felt more authentic to me.
Well, first of all, I just want to applaud you for sharing that from your heart. And like, that's the thing, like, you never know what will resonate with somebody else. And for the people that it doesn't resonate with, like, who cares? Like,
They're not my people. That's not who I want to help, right?
yeah, like, and that's, and your whole business, like, I feel like you are very in tune with your like ideal client, helping other people like kind of figure things like that out. Like, so, to me, it's a no-brainer that you talk on those things and you kind of dismiss what other people are saying about it in a negative way. So good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
Wow. So, okay. So in doing that, so you've seen a lot of engagement happening and whatnot. And you mentioned to me in your email, you're talking about conversion. So like you didn't see any conversion from that. So I'd like you to kind of first of all walk me, because I'm going to take a couple of steps back
Yep.
in order to move forward. So I'd like you to walk me through like what your typical sales process looks like and how people typically will find out about you, get to know you, and then ultimately become a client of yours.
So quite often it's referrals. So especially when I first started out, because I was still so close to my corporate career, people would refer other people to me. So it really started in referrals, getting connected and just having a conversation with the individual about what their goals are, what they're seeking to do, whether they're actually, it's almost like qualifying if they're tire kickers or if they are really looking to be okay with being uncomfortable and moving forward. Um, and so it's having the conversation part has always been really good for me. I love to talk to people. I love to understand what their challenges are, and I can fairly quickly pinpoint out where they're blocking themselves or where they have opportunity. So having the conversation part of it is fairly easy. People that have done like my CEO day, that I did a quarterly event, a mastermind for women. The women rave about it, right? That I get phenomenal testimonials. They refer people to those events. So it's a lot of it has been referral, and then it tends to be conversation, like just getting on a call. And from there, it's whether they're either going to invest into themselves or they're not. My greatest challenge is that pre-funnel, which I don't have, as far as getting people to me to be aware of what I'm doing. So you take that referral base off, and I'm, doggy paddling big time.
Gotcha. Okay. So two things. First, when it sounds, and I want you to clarify this, when somebody gets in front of you, like when you finally get down to the bottom of the funnel where you have that conversation, is like, would you say that your close rate is high, like when it's like when the client is ideal?
Yep.
Fantastic. And then top of the funnel, like right now it's just all referrals, right? So people that have engaged with you in the past, they put your name out to somebody, that somebody comes up. So it's all referral based right now. Okay, sweet. So this is a great opportunity because now we've realized two things. One, uh, getting somebody to get in a conversation with you, whether it be virtually, face to face, social distancing, whatever,
Yep.
that is pretty much the deal sealer if we can get somebody to that point. Would you agree?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. And then the second thing that we've observed is that top of the funnel, like right now, it's just referral based. So people, they have experience with you, they love you, they tell somebody else about you, that other person chooses to engage.
Yep.
Okay, so here's what we got to do with social then. We got to use social as a way to drive uh, people to have the conversation with you. If ROI for you is when somebody is in front of you, virtually or in person, to have that conversation, then social media should drive people to that, not towards the sale, but towards the conversation. If the conversation is the thing that converts, that's
Yep.
what social should drive towards. So we got to look for ways that we can help facilitate that through a social realm. Now you mentioned top of the funnel, like you're not like there's not really much else as far as advertising, getting your name out there. Now, I always like to give like two sides of the coin because like there's the practical like organic side that you can use to really just continue that referral base, but through social. And then the other side that I talk about as well is paid media. Now, I sway to different sides depending on who I'm speaking to because everybody's at a different place in their
Yep.
business. And the reality is like there is a lot you can do on the organic side to get there. And then I always tell people like if you have budget to spend on Facebook ads, then do Facebook ads. Like it's the cheapest, most effective way to reach your potential audience wherever they are at the lowest cost. Like I tell people like I'm very unemotional about the platform that you're using, but I look at what's the cost versus like the reach and how contextual can we get. So the big thing for us is that like you could do 5 different ads that reach 5 different demographics that fit within your niche, all
Mm-hmm.
with different messages at the exact same price point and have them running simultaneously, which
Yeah.
you can't really do at a really good price point within like radio ads, newspaper, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, are, are you like? What are you kind of more interested in exploring? Are you more interested in exploring the organic side or the paid side? Because we can talk about both, or we can talk about either or. But I want to focus on the one that's going to bring you the most value for the now.
Yeah, so I want to focus on what it is that I need to do, right? So I always say to people like you have to stay in your zone of genius. This is not my zone of genius. If it was, I'd be doing it, right? So for me, and I'll give you a little bit of a view about where I'm growing my business too, because that might have some impact on it. So I work with businesses on helping, like, really it's leadership coaching or teaching them 12-week year and helping them to implement it. A lot of businesses right now are not um, focusing on those things. They're not, it's a luxury to them right now versus a time that they're going to invest. Right now, they're just trying to remain afloat. So that's a little bit of a challenging point. The other side of my business is really the female centric side, where I focus on working with women, whether it's women leaders or women in their career, women business owners. And as I'm growing that forward with my business, so I'm a certified NLP practitioner. I don't know if you know what that means or not. Do you know what NLP is?
I don't.
Okay, so my husband says it's brain voodoo.
No.
So basically, it's working with your subconscious mind. So it's like neuro-linguistic programming. So we take, you know how you have these limiting beliefs that come up or stories that we say to ourselves that I can't do that. I actually change that. I help you change that and replace it in your subconscious mind, because it's our subconscious mind that actually fuels everything, right? And
Gotcha.
so
Yeah. Right.
so when I'm working with people on that, it's really a lot of mindset work, and it's getting rid of limiting beliefs. And so as I'm building that forward, it's a lot of women work with me, like want to work with me. Well, I say a lot of women, I'm starting into bringing this out to everyone. But in my mind already, a lot of women want to be working with me on this, because it's shattering our glass ceiling. It's shattering the limitations we're putting on ourselves so that we can keep moving forward. The plan right now is that in January, I'm doing my master's. I'm doing the training on it right now. The plan is that in January, I'll have my master practitioner license. And then early February, I'm doing trainer training, because my goal ultimately is to have a component in my business that's called Next Level You method. And it's really teaching people how to do this, but I can also train people to become practitioners in it. So
Very cool.
it is so phenomenal. It is so phenomenal. Because a lot of people go to talk therapy. I did it for a lot of years. I suffered a trauma in my late teens, and, carried a lot of shame and guilt with me for years over that. And it really held me back. And it was when I got connected with someone through NLP that I was able to release that, and be able to reclaim my life. And so it's something that is very important to me to be able to bring this to other individuals. It doesn't just have to be women. It's just that I tend to talk a lot more with women, or at the groups that I'm at. It tends to be female centric. But yeah, so that's so you see kind of the greater vision of where we're going. So a lot of what I'm doing now is creating, either it's sharing information about how powerful our subconscious mind is and how much it is impacting everything that we do daily. Actually, I reached out to the chair of Region of Waterloo, because they're going to be creating anti-racist training for all of the regional employees. And I said to them, that's phenomenal. And they're working with some really phenomenal, people of color in our community who are really helping to drive this. And I said, that's where this training needs to come from. But I want to have an aspect in there so that as they're sharing this with predominantly white people, right, they can understand how these unconscious biases got there in the first place, and be able to question, wait, why did I just think that? Like, where did that actually even come from? Because so many people say, oh, I don't have any unconscious bias. We all do. But how did it get there? So I teach people to understand how, like, the first 7 years of their life really shaped who they are. And that we can take thoughts that were placed upon us as beliefs that aren't actually aligned to us, and we can get rid of those, and we can create our true beliefs and put them in there and be able to move forward in that way, whether it's personally, whether it's within community. So that'll give you a bit of a rundown of and you'll see I'm super passionate about it. So
Absolutely. And by the way, like, to me, it, like, the first thing I thought of when you were saying that was like, like you're essentially teaching entrepreneurs, business leaders how to be like Google and Amazon versus like the like the Toys R Us or the Blockbusters of the world that went out of
Yeah.
business like during
Yeah.
hard times, and other businesses that thrived. And but to your point, like those limiting beliefs obviously were not there in a major way for the businesses that ended up thriving during these times right now, which means that your service is needed more than ever, which
Yeah.
gets me excited. And I can already feel your excitement. So
Yeah.
that's phenomenal. No, that's good. And I appreciate you sharing that because that's good context for this conversation. Yeah, like you like the conversations that you're having and the way that you're getting in front of people right now, like it's all referral based. So the key thing that sticks out to me to start is this: people already had an experience with you and they loved it, therefore they told somebody else, and that person trusts that person that dealt with
Yep.
you, and therefore now they're wanting to deal with you. So what we have to do now, Cheryl, is we have to recreate that in a way where you take control a little bit more of how that process works for you. What I mean by that is how can we create something that allows people to get a glimpse of that value that you have so that they can see and experience your brand up front, which will then draw them into the conversation. Going back to, we want to lead people to the conversation
Yeah.
with you that then leads to business. So you see where I'm going? Like that's what we have to create. So my other question to you is, like the events that you do, like they're all like the group events that you do, like they're all paid events or free, or how do you do them?
Um, a lot. Well, so for like the CEO day and stuff, those are paid events, and I've just transitioned that to it's quarterly that we run it. And you get the full day mastermind, but I've altered it so it's now you get the full day mastermind and 11 weeks of weekly group coaching, and each pod is only 10 people. So if I had 30 women that wanted to do this, I would not do one group of 30. I do it in groups of 10 because I want to be able to have the time with the individuals to help them actually transform, and for it to be impactful for them. So I haven't really done any free events, although I'm thinking about, I just created, literally just created like in the last 2 weeks, on Facebook. It's a group called Next Level You with Cheryl Himburg. And it is a community, anyone can join it. You have to request to join it, but anyone can join it. And I've been talking in there about how I really dismantled my life and built it to work for me by design into one that I love, and talk about the mindset things and all of this stuff, right? So I'm really trying to create a space where people can explore their own and ask questions, and it feels safe because it's this container that ideally only people that are interested in this will go in here. So I'm
This is a
just
Facebook
starting
page.
that. Pardon me?
This is a Facebook page.
Yep, it's a Facebook group.
Phenomenal, phenomenal. And by the way, like well done. Like with all the negativity going around on social, like these things like Facebook groups, like I'm really excited about people that are doing that because I really think it's the game changer for bringing back the positivity to the
Yeah.
platform in a sea of negativity. So I love that you're doing that. And the other question I have very quickly, do you record your group sessions?
I hadn't. I hadn't previously. So it's something that I will start to do. Now, so far, it's just been me going in and doing a video and sharing it in the group. But I'm thinking about in August, because we're at the cottage last week of July. So I'm thinking in August early in August, just doing a 3-day, almost kind of not challenge, but reset in the group where I'll go on and kind of give them something to do each day and really talk through why it's important and what we're doing and try to get people to engage in and share that I'm going to go live and do this. And, you know, my dog's probably going to jump on my lap and that's okay. And, you know, just let them see that we just don't have like it. I think one of the biggest things that I've learned to transitioning out of corporate, in corporate, I had to be so perfect all the time. Everything had to be perfect all the time. And it's BS, right? Like everyone's like, "Oh, you have it all together." And I'm like, "I was just in my bathroom with a glass of wine crying." Like, no, we don't all have it together all the time. And so really to be able to have people start looking at these things differently and it's not a case of comparing yourself to somebody else. It's really going inward and saying, "What do I truly want and how am I going to make that happen?" And if somebody else doesn't understand it, that's okay.
100%. 100%.
Now, I can sit and have this conversation with you, no problem. No problem. You could ask me any question and I would totally go and have conversation. But I get this video in front of me to record for on whatever. I've gotten better-ish, but I feel I freeze. So I have to figure out the way to have the conversation without it just feeling flat, if that makes sense.
I'm so glad you brought that up because that kind of brings me to the next thing I want to walk through with you, which is how you have your session set up. So is it like kind of like a two-part thing where it's like, you know, the first part is like you talking and then the next part is kind of like the engagement back and forth, like whether it be Q&A or workshop or, you know, whatever, like how does that work in your space?
Do you mean for like what I'll do within the group?
Yeah,
Or yeah,
like
within
for
the
your
group?
group sessions. Yeah.
So when I do like the free thing in the free group, when I do those, it would be me just talking about what the concept is and what we're doing, and
Oh,
for them
sorry,
to
sorry.
send.
I'm talking about the paid ones, like
Okay,
the yeah.
like the CEO day. Okay,
Yeah.
so the last one I did was in April. It's the first one that I did that was virtual,
Okay.
and we do that over Zoom. And in the morning part of it, we have a learning component, right? And so the one in July, we're talking about reframing our relationship with failure and how we've been programmed to fear failure because we've been programmed to be employees. And so we have a lot of diverse conversation back and forth. And I share concepts and learning, and they share their experiences with it and challenging their experiences. And then in the afternoon, we create a goal that they're going to accomplish over the next 90 days. And of course, it has to be what we focus on is what we create. So it has to be stated positively. So I teach people how to frame their goal in a positive way so that, like, an example is you could say you want a 2% error rate, which is really good, right? It's really good. But then you're constantly talking about errors. And if I'm talking to you and I'm saying, well, yeah, we're striving for a 2% error rate, I'm still looking at a negative, right? But if I change that and I say, our goal, our standard is a 98% success rate, it instantly feels different, right? And then when I'm talking about that with you, I'm talking about success. I'm talking about what we're building, what we're doing right, all of the positives that we're doing. And I'm putting all of that energy out and spending my time and focus on that. And that's what we create instead of focusing on errors and creating errors. So I teach them how to frame their goal positively so that when they read it 5 times a day and they talk to their friends about it and they say to people, this is what I'm doing, it's creating all positive energy. And then we create a 12-week plan to achieve it without the overwhelm. And so we talk back and forth. They brainstorm actions they could do. I teach them how to get the key critical ones. And there's a lot of conversation back and forth. And then I always end it with, what is their ask for support? Because we're all in this supporting each other. So what is something that, could support them? And some people are like, I'd like more Instagram followers and more than 2 people to like my Instagram post and it not be my mom and my aunt. Right? So it's ways that we can build community within one another. And now, because we're going to be doing the 11 weeks of group coaching with this same cohort after, like, weekly having the group coaching, that will be done during Zoom, and we'll talk about what's working, what's not, and I'll give them coaching on where they're at.
When's your next session?
It launches out July 22nd is the next full day mastermind, and no one has signed up. No one is registering. And what I've done is, it's normally like $12.97. I'm doing it at $9.97, and they can break it out into 3 payments, right? Like, it can't get any easier. But I'm finding people are hesitant right now because of everything that's going on. They're unsure about investing into something, or a lot of women are home and not working because they're home taking care of the kids and there isn't supportive care. And they would normally be working, and they're hearing from their spouses that, well, you're not working right now, so you're not investing in that.
Gotcha. Okay. So a few things out of that. First of all, like, that's phenomenal. Like, everything that you pack into that day is gold.
Yeah.
And there's really, really, really good content there. I know there is. So, and by the way, I mean, we're recording right now, and you're doing a phenomenal job expressing to me the value. So I'm not sure what the hang up is with being able to do that in your space, because you're doing a phenomenal job of it here. Like, I'm sitting here listening and observing, and you're doing a phenomenal job. What's the difference? Like, is it because you're hosting it that is
I can talk about it
in your head, or?
I'm getting better at just talking and going and not caring if there's anyone really. I just picture, like, I'll picture you on the other side, and I'm just talking to a blank screen, and I'll just picture in my mind, I'm having a conversation with you, and, this is what you had mentioned to me. And so I'm talking about how whatever can help you. I have no problem having the conversations. I have no problem sharing at the value. It's my block, and this is a limiting belief that I have, is that I'm not good at finding the people, right? And I don't enjoy that. As awful as that sounds, I don't enjoy that part of the process. So ideally, I said, I'd love to have someone on my team that draws the people to me. And then I stay in my zone, which is sharing my information and having those conversations. So going into the group session, so far it's just been me talking on a couple of videos, but yeah, it's my greatest challenge that I have is getting the people in front of me to have the conversation, if that makes sense.
Okay. No, that completely makes sense. So just to go back just for a second. So recording is not your challenge. It's getting people is your challenge. So you're completely comfortable recording your next coaching session. Okay.
Yeah, recording. Oh, I have no problem recording the next CEO day. I have no problem recording our weekly, group coaching calls. I have no problem with that. I used to have a challenge, because I've chosen not to have a challenge with it anymore, and I've chosen to now enjoy sharing my information. But I used to have a challenge with just going on the video and saying, talking about a concept. So I'm doing that much more now, and people are loving it, and that's why people are wanting to come into the group. It's, for me now, getting the right people in front of me to have the conversation and say, here is my group program. Here is how we're working together and what we're doing in it and how it can help you in your circumstances. And if it's not the right fit, I tell them it's not the right fit, and I can connect them with someone else that is, or I can connect with other people and help them find someone that is.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. I get it. So this gets me excited because I feel like you are on, like, you talk about like not wanting to be the person to like go out and get people. Well, here's the beautiful part about it is you don't have to be.
I know.
Marketing is a beautiful thing where like the traditional sales person, like I've seen companies where like sales teams have shrunk because the marketing to a major degree has taken over in quite a few ways. They actually need more people on staff to manage ad budgets, and doing setup and doing automations and all that. Like that's kind of like the face of marketing as it is, and it's taking over. So the cool thing about you, Cheryl, and this is the part that I really want to focus in on because you're so good at this, is you're good at having those conversations and leading somebody through that path. I just want you to record it. So like I would even like, I don't know, like I would even have the thought of like putting something out there like, hey, like doing just doing a session, like a session with somebody, you could do a contest, like, have people submit their names, emails, whatever, and then like one person wins. You draw out of how what like however you
Yeah.
want to do it, and then you get somebody, and then record the conversation. Once you get that image and that video, um, put the video out there. The video will do your selling for you. It will do the drawing in for you. Why? Because it's showing you talking to your ideal client. And guess what? People are going to be drawn in because they will see themselves,
Yeah.
not in you, in the person that you're speaking
Yeah.
with. That's the link that we need to connect to here. So, and by the way, like I like this idea for lives as well. Like, how like you can go on there and you can invite somebody to join video with you. Like I love that idea for live, and you can share that to your IG like story, all
Yeah.
that. I like, but definitely I think getting more people with you. So basically, what you're doing is you're showing people the experience of an individual working with you through the screen. So they get basically the opportunity to see everything that they would experience in a session with you. They get to see it beforehand. So now what you've done is you've built brand and
Mm-hmm.
trust, credibility with that person beforehand. The same way the referral works, right? Because
Yeah.
it's people are connecting with you the same way. So now all we're doing, Cheryl, it very simple. All we're doing is we're just taking control of that a bit. We're making the content and then we're putting out there. If like, just my opinion, what I would do if I was in your shoes, what I would do is I would get the video, chop it up, like, put your logo, all that stuff in there, and then run like an ad on Facebook against your target audience. And because you're kind of limitless as far as who, like, you can go anywhere, like, like maybe just start with you could start with, I don't know, like Toronto, just kind of like focus in on different areas and then address those areas in the ad copy.
Yeah.
So, like, hey, CEOs, female CEOs, or uh, you know, women entrepreneurs, like address the person that you're speaking to, because then when they see the ad, they'll see that and they'll be like, oh, she's talking to me.
She's talking to me.
That's what's going to make them stop. And it's honestly, it's the number one thing that I feel like people are missing when they're putting out ads, is they're missing the contextual part of it. You have to make it so that the person knows that you're not just somebody from like there's a lot of people that run ads in my industry, like a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like half of them are in the States, and
Yeah.
they're targeting people in Canada. You don't know where they're from, but
Yeah.
the agencies that make it contextual and they say, oh, hey, Belleville, Ontario, or hey Canada, or you know what I mean? Like that really makes the difference with who you're targeting. So honestly, like I would get the video, Cheryl, and then I would run ads against your target audience. That will then become the funnel. And like I don't like email email marketing is another thing too, but like it can, all of it should drive to that conversation with
I
you.
just created a new website. I added a subscribe link on it to where people can get onto my mailing list. I normally send out a quarterly newsletter. I revamped how it looks in April, got great engagement. The one I just sent in July, people are really liking it. And I just sent out yesterday my first email automation campaign, because my goal is to fill like 10 women into this CEO day by July. And well, ideally, I'd like to do 2 pods of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And for some women that aren't able to attend the full CEO day on its own because they can't because of children, and they want to still go into the group coaching, they get the replay. So they just have to watch the replay before we go into the first group coaching session. So they come with their goal, and I'll do a 30-minute with them and, you know, get them on track so that they're supported and good to go into the group, right? So
That's perfect.
if I can fill, so here's my thing, if I can fill 2 pods of 10 and it's $9.97 an individual, I've got my marketing budget, right? I mean, obviously I've got my other costs, but then I've got that to be, because honestly, I don't want to be doing it. I don't want to be doing it.
100%. Yeah, and that's great. Like, what do you use for your email campaigns? Like, what platform?
Constant Contact.
Okay, I believe I've heard of that one. So the cool thing, go ahead.
I looked at Active Campaign and a couple others and couldn't get them. I tried this Constant Contact, and within 45 minutes, I was able to create like an email to send out that was branded and everything. Is so easy to use. And I was like, all right, because the others, I wouldn't do stuff because it was too frustrating to try and go and do it. And these, I can pop in at 11 o'clock at night and create something in 30 minutes, right? So that's why I chose that one.
Perfect. Okay. So then what I would do is, yeah, I would definitely, so set up the Facebook ad to link to your email campaign. So for example, like if you ran like a lead ad on Facebook, so you put the video out and people watch the video, and then it's like, okay, submit your information for like upcoming event information. So they basically get put on the mailing list. Any upcoming events, they get notified about it. They're going to love it because they saw the video, they saw the value already. So then they submit their information. We can create it, like you can create an automation that the email, name, contact information goes straight from the Facebook ad to the email campaign. So it's all automated. So their contact information automatically will go to the email campaign that you've already created, and then they will receive updates forevermore unless they unsubscribe. That is your sales funnel.
Okay. And I have a 3-series. When people subscribe, I have a 3-series automation now that goes to them.
Perfect. That's it. So
But again, this has all been like post-COVID, right? So it's all been since then that I'm like, all right, the in-person stuff isn't happening. Everything that I had in the funnel planned for the rest of this year was all in person and stuff like that. And it was like, gone. And I was like, all right, how do I create this to just be what I actually want it to be? So
see, and this is neat because this goes back to the conversation that we had when we initially talked. Pivot but don't pause. That's exactly what you're doing. You saw that what you were doing before that was working is no longer working. So you didn't just try and do the same thing. You switched it up, which is exactly what like I'm trying to tell everybody to do now is like you have to change your approach, because people, like, consumer habits have changed.
Yeah.
But to me now it's like, okay, if your email campaign leads to the conversation, social needs to lead to the email campaign, which needs to lead to the conversation. You see how that funnel works?
Yeah.
That's your funnel.
Okay.
That's your sales funnel. You don't have to do any pitching um, until the person's in front of you.
Yeah. And
That's
then
it.
even then, it's just, I honestly just want to know what their challenges are and what their actual goal and vision is that they want, and then how we get them there, because we
That's
can
it.
get them there.
That's it. And that's the beautiful part, because you know how to do that, and that's your wheelhouse. And that's why I tell everybody,
Yeah.
I'm like, if these automations are like a lifesaver, because it relieves you from doing the thing that you don't want to do, maybe don't have time to do, don't have any, zest for it.
And it's not my genius. Like, I don't know how to do it. So to me, I'm like, I'm going against my own advice when I'm trying to do that, because I tell people that's not how you build and grow a business. So here, let me pose a question to you then.
Yeah.
So I have July 22nd is the virtual CEO day.
Right.
I want to fill 2 cohorts of 10 people. Um, I was going really big and saying 3, but I actually just got connected with Queen's University. Last week I was talking with them, and they're going to have me come and be speaking at, and I'm going to be talking about 12-week year and stuff, and talking with the leadership women and stuff in August as one of their experts, and doing a couple other things. So I might have a pot of women that way, but it wouldn't start until in September type thing. So I'll see if I can record those conversations, if I can get the recording of all of that, because that would be great.
Yeah.
But I want to fill 2 pods of 10 for the July CEO day. So there'd be July 22nd and July 23rd, basically, because once I have 10 people, I need a second date. What would be involved for your company, if you have bandwidth, to create whatever draw to share out that information, to get people filled into those types of pods? Like, as far as a marketing campaign, like right now I have stuff that's going on LinkedIn and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I post on Instagram and LinkedIn that are kind of business type things. I'm talking pretty much about the CEO day. And then in between, like today, I'm going to put up a post about me down at the water. So it's not a sale thing like every day, but it's also talking about me and sharing about me. But the funnels, I mean, to get the information in front of the right people and to get them signed up, ultimately it's 20 people, right?
Right.
What would be involved in that?
I'll walk you through the process. So the process would be this. You need the creative, first and foremost. So the video, image, whatever it is that we use for the ad. Then the second thing is the ad copy. So the text that, the written word that goes along with the ad. So then along with that goes like setting up your demographic, your target audience, locations, age range, sex, interests, etc., that type of information.
Yeah.
So access obviously to like your Facebook page for that. And then the other side to it then is then creating the automation. So we have all of the information for the ad to create the ad. So now we have to set up the automation. So making sure that the ad itself will speak to and communicate with your email platform. So making sure that there can be an automation there. So any data that we collect from the Facebook ad automatically communicates to the email campaign. So setup
Yep.
of automation there, and then essentially you already have the email campaign set up, so that part's pretty well self-explanatory. You have that under wraps, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's just creating the ad, video, text, setup of demographic, and then making sure that that connects to your email campaign. That's and so then the social will become the top of funnel.
Yeah.
And then the conversation with you becomes the bottom of the funnel. And in between there will be the email marketing.
And would we do shorter based email marketing, like because it's for an event, obviously that has a time frame? How would I create a different email campaign other than this 8-piece one?
If it's very specific to an event, I mean, I haven't seen the one that you have, but like I would probably make one like shorter content in any email campaign. Like I always recommend that. The reason being is because it's kind of traditional to have like an email blast with like a bunch of different information in it. But if you really just want people to see one thing, send them the one thing.
Yeah.
So you ensure they see it.
Yeah.
And then so automations, which you've had the experience with already. So you send them the first thing. So maybe it's like a clip of the video in the ad. They want to see the full thing. They click on the ad. They submit their information. Now they're set up in your email list. They get an email, the same day or a day later that has the full video. If they want to watch that, watch everything that you took your ideal client through, and then you have the ask, the sign up, the here's what's going on, here's the next event, and then just have like reminders.
Okay.
So you can set up different sequences that way, but I would definitely make it specific to the event if that's
Yeah.
what you're trying to drive towards.
Okay. Now we are what, July 7th. Am I too late for a July 22nd boost?
Depends on it depends on when you'd have it depends on the creative. So if you like if we
If
were to
I mock a session with someone, like if I contact one of my people and say, okay, listen, we're going to do a session and record, and
if you can get that to me by the end of the week, we can launch something next week.
okay. Okay. And because I could probably do that Friday. I mean, I don't have my home office background, but I can put a different Zoom background so it's not L floral couch.
Yeah, however you want to do it, and like I don't get super caught up in like it people just want to hear the value. Like what's coming out of your mouth is going to resonate more with people than what's in your background.
So I can do it conversationally. Okay.
Definitely do it conversationally.
Okay. And what would you say then would be, having talked to me, would be the key things to hit on to resonate out as far as audience?
So I can't tell you that specifically. Like you're gonna know the answer to that question better than I am. I will say this, based on what you have told me to like so far, is I would kind of focus on giving value that kind of debunks any limiting beliefs around not thinking that your service is that valuable for people to be taking advantage of right now, and kind of leaning into the fact that it's probably critical right now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So that's how I would set it up. And then just make social the top of the funnel, leading to your email, then leading to you. You're the closer.
Okay.
The social and the email is just the sales process.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, I can give you access into Constant Contact and you can see what's in the 8-piece and you can tear it apart. Or, I mean, it's in flux right now with my email list, but I mean, you could say, yeah, this works, that doesn't, and shorten or do whatever for people that tie in.
Yeah, and I'll check with our ad specialist. Um, she's mentioned constant contact lists to me before, so they should have an API where we can connect social to it.
Okay.
But she'll be able to confirm that too.
Okay.
So what I'll do then, Cheryl, is I will probably I'll send you like an email that has like some information. So basically, like we'll get you to add us as an admin to your Facebook page. So then we can kind of go in and do like the preliminary stuff. So once the creative's ready to go, we can like launch it essentially Monday,
Yeah.
and be good to go before the 22nd.
And I can send you what I have created um, as far as my LinkedIn and Instagram posts for the month, what the topic is and what I'm saying in them.
That'd be great reference. Absolutely. And if you got like like a picture of yourself too, because like there'll be two different parts of the ad. Like there's the part where it will show like the clip of the video, and when they click to then submit their information, it'll take them to another screen. So you could have like a picture of yourself,
Yep.
branding, that type of thing. So I'll
I've
ask you.
got a ton of professional photos done. So, because I had a photographer come into 2 of the events and take pictures while I was doing them. So,
Oh,
but that's when
fantastic.
they were in person, right? So I have to be cautious on how I share some of those out.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's
Well, yeah, I'd love to blast it out and and my biggest thing is it's creating the awareness about what I do, right? Is my genius is doing the transformations, not the sharing out how I do the transformations.
Yeah, yeah. And also too, like, because your next event is the 22nd. And then you'll be doing one in August as well.
No, they're just quarterly. So the next one will be October.
Gotcha, gotcha. Could you do more of them, or did you prefer it that
I
way?
could. If there was demand for them, I could. I mean, if there was demand, I could just do the one-off days and people could do a CEO day, where it's just the one day of training. The training and the group coaching kind of needs to be quarterly to sit together, or people are just running past our natural quarters of a annualized year.
Okay. And what's the question I'm trying to ask? Like, what is your bottom dollar? So like, at what point? Like you mentioned, like 20 signups. Like, basically, what I want to know is how many signups are required to cover your costs for the event, roughly.
If I'm doing it online, like virtually, if I'm running the event and just doing a one-day event,
Yep.
I have my workbook and stuff that I can edit the front pages. I mean, really, it's my time.
Okay, so there's 100, so that's 100% return essentially there.
Yeah,
Just
because I'm printing booklets. I would rent at the Walper, which is a boutique hotel, that type of thing. When I'm doing them virtually, I'm not doing it that way. Now, when I have the people that go into the 10-week group coaching, I want to send them kind of a gift package. So they'll have, you know, tangible pieces from me. It's just part of my experience with them. But as far as just a CEO day on its own, it's my time for the day and it's my time creating the content. And I can transition content from things that I've used, ones that I've used before. So
Phenomenal. Okay, no, that's good. That just gives me a better idea of what is required in order for you to be able to cover your day. So perfect. Okay.
yeah, I mean, doing them virtually makes it really cost effective on my end.
There you go. There you go. Okay. Awesome. Well, I really, really do appreciate you sharing with me today, Cheryl. Like it's because, and honestly, like I really believe in what you're doing, and I know that you believe it, which is really, really important. And I think that's going to help finesse what happens along with the creative, because I really think like if we can break through, like that's what the ad is trying, like that's what we're trying to accomplish, right? With the ad is to break through that, debunk that limiting belief that this is not critical right now for
Yeah.
people, right? It's just like what I do, right? Like marketing in a lot of cases for a lot of people is like the first thing to go when money's not coming in, right? So you have to break through those limiting beliefs to kind of help debunk that. And I think the best way to do that is to show them an experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I tell people right now, especially in times of crisis, I don't like using the word crisis, but other people use that word. Um, we either contract or expand, right? And it is, it's dangerous to be around people that are, you know, small minded and don't have vision and aren't willing to look broader or expand their awareness, because people will not survive that, because they won't step outside of their comfort zone. They won't grow. And then they get Uberized.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, I really, really appreciate being able to speak with you, Cheryl. And I'm going to get some information together for you and ask you some questions so we can get some information for your Facebook, etc. And then we'll check in with my ad specialist on your email platform and get some confirmation there so we can set up the automation. And we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cheryl. I really appreciate your time and speaking with you. And good to see you. You look great.
Well, thanks. It's because I'm down by the bay all the time.
Well, you look like you're at peace, so I'm happy. That's good.
I'm loving it.
All right. You take care. We'll talk to you soon then.
Talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.